Hello, Algebra 2 folks, and welcome to Solve by Factoring. You need your notes, a pencil, and a calculator. And you're going to have to put this in your notebook, okay? I'm sorry that my voice doesn't sound so great. I'm not feeling the greatest. So hopefully we can make it through the video the best we can. All right, so you need a little bit of prior knowledge. We need to know that there are 4 ways to factor. Those are in your foldable. Those would be GCF, grouping, AC method, and the difference of 2 squares. All right. What you also need to know is that greatest common factoring is what we look at first, always. Sometimes that's the only way we can get started. So you always need to be asking yourself, is there a greatest common factor? Then we have to decide what method we're going to use based on that, how the expression looks. So once we've used greatest common factoring, then we can look at the number of terms. So grouping. Grouping has 4 terms. AC method, 3 terms. Difference of 2 squares. Well, difference of 2 would mean you would have to have a subtraction. You'd have to have 2, and they would have to be perfect squares. So since you already know how to factor, we're going to use that knowledge to help us learn to solve. Now let me fill you in on just one more thing. When you factored, you were factoring expressions. Expressions do not have equal signs. We are solving and solving problems. Those are equations, and equations have equal signs. And that will help us solve for x. All right, let's get started with our first example. So the first thing you do is you factor it, okay? You look at the side that doesn't have the the side, one of the sides where there's not a 0. So get rid of the equal sign and the 0 for now. We will bring that back in a minute. But we're going to just factor what we see here. Well, I see that I do not have anything in common but a 1. So I'm not going to do anything with that. Then I see that I have 3 terms. If I have 3 terms, I use the AC method. Now the AC method says you take A times C. A is 1 and C is 14. 1 times 14, well, that would be 14. Now we are going to be looking for 2 factors of 14 that add up to be 9. So 1 and 14, -1 and -14, but neither one of those are going to add up to be 9. 2 and 7. 2 times 7 is 14. 2 plus 7 is equal to 9. Okay, so we have our 2 new factors for the middle term. So remember what we do? We take and rewrite the first term. The second term is the 2x, and the third term is the 7x. You can flip these around, doesn't matter. But the first term always stays, and so does the last. Okay, now we have a 4-term problem, which allows us to do some grouping. So what does x squared and 2x have in common? They each have an x. So I'm going to take an x out. I'm left with x plus 2. What does 7x and 14 have in common? A 7. So I'm going to take a plus 7 out. That gives me x plus 2. Now remember with group factoring, it says, what do these 2 have in common? These 2 terms have in common. So what they have in common is an x plus 2. So we're going to divide out an x plus 2 out of each one of them. So I'm going to get an x plus 2, and then what's left over? An x plus 7. All right, so with that, I don't know why it keeps doing that. I'm really sorry. So with that, we are going to go ahead and now do the second part. So now we factored it. We have our two factors. And now we're going to set each factor equal to 0 and solve. All right? So that means we have to bring back the equal sign. So now we have x plus 2 in parentheses and x plus 7 in parentheses equals 0. You take each factor and set them equal to 0 separately. So now I'm going to take the x plus 2 equals 0 and solve for x. In this case, for x, it could be y, it could be z, depends on what your variable is. Subtract 2. X equals -2. Then I'm going to take x plus 7 and set it equal to 0. Solve for x, subtract 7 on both sides, and x is equal to -7. So the solutions to this problem are -2 and -7. Okay, these are the x values. These are like where they would cross the x-axis. That means there's 2 points this graph is going to cross the x-axis. It's going to cross at -2, 0 and -7, 0. Okay? And so we just want to make sure that we don't write these as an ordered pair because it's not an x and a y. It's two separate x's. So you can either just write the two separate x's, you can write them like this, x equals -2, x equals -7. You can use the squiggly lines, or you can write them in ordered pair form, okay? But what we did was we factored, and then we took each factor and we set them to 0. So we brought the equal 0 back. So why are we setting each factor equal to 0? It's a really good question. Thanks for asking. I'm just kidding. So let's pretend that you're thinking of two numbers and they multiply to make 0. My first number is 7. What's my second number? It's 0. So when I plug 0 into one of those factors and multiply by 7, I get 0. So we can set each of those factors from before with the x's equal to 0 to find our solution. And this zero product property rule is really important. So when two things multiply to make 0, one of them or both of them must be 0. So that's called the zero product property rule. Okay, so take a minute and write that down. When two things multiply to make 0, one or both of them must be 0. Okay. All right, let's do example number 2. Factor and solve. First thing we do is we factor. Okay. Oh, first we should use GCF. Do they have anything in common? Yes, they do. They have a 2 in common. So I'm going to divide out the 2. That leaves me with 2x squared plus 11x plus 5. That's almost easier to factor now once we take that GCF out. Because otherwise you'd have to say 4 times 10 is 40. 2 factors of 40 that make 22. It's going to get ugly. It's going to get big. And we could make some major mistakes. So we always got to take that GCF out. Now we can take what's in the parentheses and use the AC method because I have 3 terms. Don't count the GCF. Just count what's inside. 3 terms. All right, so A is equal to 2. C is equal to 5. A times C is equal to 10. 2 factors of 10. that add up to be 11? That's a pretty easy one. 10 and 1. Okay, bring down your first term. Change your middle term to your new terms, which are 10x and 1x, and leave the last term alone, which is 5. Group 2x squared plus 10x. What do they have in common? A 2x. So I'm going to divide out a 2x. I'm left with x plus 5. I want an x plus 5. Looks like that's already an x plus 5, so I'm going to take out a plus 1. Then I'm going to divide out the x plus 5s. And I'll have an x plus 5, a 2x plus 1. And then this little 2 comes down here. And so these are all my factors of this problem. So now we factored. So we looked at this side, got the equals 0. And now what we have to do is we have to solve. Okay, so now we want to bring that 0 back. So we're going to say all our factors are equal to 0. And now we're going to go ahead and set each factor equal to 0 and solve. So factor 2 equals 0. Never, nada. That doesn't work, ever. A number that's by itself will never equal 0. So cross that one out. But say it had an x with it. So, okay, kind of a sidebar. Say you had 2x. Well, then you can solve for 0 because you could divide by 2 and x would equal 0. But that's only if you have an x. Okay? We don't really have that. We don't have an x here, so this is never going to happen. Okay? That's never going to happen for this one. So I'm going to go ahead and cross that part out because that's not happening this time. All right? And now we're going to set the other two factors equal to 0. So x plus 5 equals 0. Subtract 5 on both sides. X is equal to negative 5. Set 2x plus 1 equal to 0. Subtract 1. Subtract 1 and from each side and divide by 2. So x will equal negative 1/2. So you can write the answers any which way of the following. You can say the answers are x equals negative 5 and x equals negative 1/2. Or you can use those brackets, negative 5, negative 1/2. Or you can say negative 5, 0 and negative 1/2, 0. Any of those methods or answers would be acceptable. Okay, let's try one more. Example number 3, factor to solve. Oh no, all the other ones were set equal to 0. This one isn't. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to get everything on one side. Okay, so get everything equal to 0. So we're going to move everything over. When you do that, try to keep E, I guess I need an extra E in keep. Sorry about that. So keep x squared. Try to keep x squared positive at all times. Factoring is a pain when x squared is not positive. So I'm going to subtract the 9x from both sides of negative 8x equals x squared minus 9x, and then I'm going to add the 8x. Oh, looky there. I probably could have added those together in one step because those are like terms. Guess what? You get the same answer anyway because this would have been 1x, subtract 1x, and you would have got negative 1x. Okay, so now that it's set equal to 0, we can factor. Okay, so we're going to take x squared minus 1x, and we're going to factor it. All right, we always have to use GCF first. What do they have in common? An x. X squared divided by x is an x. Negative 1x divided by an x is a negative 1. Okay, third step, solve. So we have to set each factor equal to 0. Okay, so one factor is x, set that equal to 0. That's not a number, that's a 1x. Divide by 1, x is equal to 0. Take your other factor, x minus 1 equal to 0. Add 1, x equals 1. The solutions are 0 and 1, or 0, 0, 1, 0. Or you can say x equals 0 and x equals 1. Any method. Okay? So any one of those ways would be the right answer. So factoring to solve. So first of all, you have to have everything set equal to 0. And then you have to factor. Always check greatest common factor first. Then choose one of the methods. Once you get all your factors, you can set each factor equal to 0 and solve. That's all, folks. Thanks for watching, and thanks for listening, even though my voice was horrible. Later, Gator.